So if you're like me and you say yes to everything and then end up in a whole world of pain because you can't handle it all, you might want to keep watching this video. So you might be dealing with multiple clients, too many projects at once. I know your pain. It's tough because a lot of times when you're an audio producer, or maybe you're just a mixing engineer, you have a lot of downtime. You just sit around wondering, when's the next job gonna come? So we're constantly out there pushing and forcing that marketing and trying to get as many clients as we can through the door. And then all of a sudden you get this giant wind rush of 9 or 10 people hit you up all at once, and you say yes to everything because you're not sure when you're going to get your next job. And then it's like, what do I do? How do I handle all of this? And similarly, another thing that'll happen is you'll get a band to come in the studio and work with you for like a whole month, like maybe it's a local band, and somewhere in the middle of that process a bigger band hits you up and wants to work with you, and it's like, what do you do? Like, I want to work with this bigger band, but I'm recording this local band right now and I'm not really sure what to do. So here's how I would handle some of these situations. Number one, you've got to stay true to the clients who actually come through and book you. So if that's a smaller band or a local band, then so be it. Like, that band gave you the money, they actually showed up on time, like they're there working with you. You've got to give them the respect and the attention that they deserve, and you can't, just because they're a smaller band than someone else, doesn't mean that you should push them off to the side. Yes, the bigger band coming in is going to give you more notoriety, it's going to give you more exposure, but think about your reputation when you start picking bigger bands over smaller bands. Everyone's going to talk shit about you, and you don't want that either. So there's kind of a balance to both of these things. Also, there's nothing wrong with asking a client to say, hey, my schedule's a little bit busy. Would it be okay if we pushed you back like a couple weeks? In fact, I would tell you, throughout almost my entire career, I had to constantly push bands around, and there were times where I would have a band booked for like a block of time for half a year, and 1 month before the session I'll move it over here. And yeah, it pisses a bunch of people off, but sometimes it's what you have to do to make everything work. I would say if you're juggling multiple clients and you're saying yes to too many things, you do also need to learn the very important skill of saying no, and you got to know when to do that, when is right. I get it. It's like you want to take everything that's coming at you, but you have to keep in mind that music isn't gonna go away, and bands aren't gonna stop being created. So you can wait a year, you can wait 2 years, you can wait 3 years. Like, it's not a big deal if you have to turn something down. Something else will come up in the next year or in the next month or even in the next week. So don't freak out when all of a sudden you get 9 projects at once and you're like, yes, this is the workload that I want, and then you find out that you can't handle it. Take what you can get and do a really, really good job, and spend as much time as you can doing a good job on each project, so that when people approach you on the next project, they're gonna be floored with your work. They're gonna love your ability to put out a really good product, and they're gonna appreciate that a lot more. It's not about quantity, it's about quality, always. So another thing you can do when you're dealing with multiple clients and trying to juggle all of this work is you can turn to outsourcing, and it can be a really powerful thing. Now, I know a lot of people have instant objections to that. Your knee-jerk reaction is like, oh, I wanna do everything, and I'm the master of the quality, and I'm the guy. In fact, I would say the opposite. Nobody gets rich alone. That's a famous saying that I really love. But what it really means is that teamwork makes the dream work. It's like you need to collaborate with people. You need to create a community of collaboration to actually do something powerful, to do something cool. And that's very true in the audio world. I mean, I did a lot of records on my own, don't get me wrong, but as I climbed and as I got better and better, I brought more people into the process, and sooner or later, I had a person editing my drums, a person helping me edit my vocals, somebody else helping me record guitars. All of these things actually bring different brains, different minds into the project, and that's what makes the project better, because you have more people working on it, more people contributing to the creative side of it and the labor side of it. Imagine, how awesome a record can be when you've got 8 people working on it versus 1. The one guy is doing everything himself and he's stressing himself out, and so the quality becomes more poor of the project because they're working so hard. Whereas you have 8 people working on the project, and you can handle a higher workload, and you can put more time, more effort, more energy into it. So I always lean on teamwork when it comes to that thing. So if you're dealing with multiple projects, you can outsource. You can use outsource as a way to basically leverage your time. So if you're getting 9 projects all at once all of a sudden, call in a couple friends, look into the URM community. If you're a part of our community, you know, there's tons of people that can help you there. Reach out to people and get some help, because ultimately we're all just, you know, working for the artists. We're just trying to help the artists create their art. So it's not a big deal if you have to outsource to do that, to kind of cover all of your bases. All right, questions and actions. Number 1, how are you managing your time? Are you using a calendar, a spreadsheet, or are you not tracking it at all? You might want to think about writing some things down so that you don't put yourself into a really bad situation. The last thing you want to do is overbook yourself or double book a band, because you don't want 2 bands showing up at your door wondering what the hell's going on. If your workload is too high right now, who is it that you could reach out to help you handle that workload? And if you don't know anyone, where is some communities online where you could go to find people? For example, the Unstoppable Recording Machine community, the Private Producers Club, the Joey Sturgis Forum, all these places on the internet where you can find audio producers to help you with your projects. Take a good hard look at your workflow and find spots like bottlenecks that slow you down and make it harder for you to handle and manage multiple projects. Maybe there's something in there where, you know, you're waiting on a computer for a whole day to do something. Get a second computer and speed up your workflow that much more. Or, you know, maybe you're already leaning on somebody, but they're taking forever to get your drum edits done. Maybe you need to find someone else to help you manage that workload. Or maybe it's just something in your own process. Maybe it takes you forever to record drums. Maybe you want to find somebody else to record those drums instead of you, or just get better at it and work on it. Because if you apply a lot of time to fixing those bottlenecks, and it'll take a lot of time at first to fix that one thing, but eventually down the road, it'll speed up your entire workflow over the whole course of your career.